data of rural areas is as common as case studies of college students. The reason for that? Smaller populations are easier to analyze. When the entire town's populace number is small enough for one dedicated researcher to interview, there's a chance that the area's seen better days. Towns that small are either new or on their way out, which is why sociologists love studying these phenomenons. They're the beginnings and endings of a community. These rises and falls also make for interesting tales, which is why Hollywood has created films about community centers being threatened, whole neighborhoods in peril, and the mundane nature of small-town life. Sometimes, these films are even well done, like What's Eating Gilbert Grape. This early 90s drama features an A-list cast portraying the residents of the tiny town of Endora, struggling to survive in a world where the local economy is in a coma. We follow the Grape family, primarily Gilbert and his little brother Arnie. These two you may recognize as some of the biggest stars today. An actor's career is a winding road. Some, like Peter Lorre, are best known for particular ways of speaking or mannerisms. Then you have your Marlon Brandos, famous for completely melting into their characters. What happens when you fuse these two? Johnny Depp. He's adept at playing the part of a madman, a contemplative inspector, a madman, a badass, a madman, and whatever this was. He's not always the loudest one in the room, though. When he brings it down, he has a subtlety that really helps accent every moment in the scene. And the subtlety plays extremely well with Leonardo DiCaprio's precisely executed portrayal of a mentally handicapped teenager.
I'm not tired yet, Gilbert.
Gotta go to sleep, okay?
Okay. Goodbye.
No, it's not goodbye, it's goodnight.
Yeah.
Goodbye. So when you're going away, we're not going anywhere, huh?
I know that. Jeez, I know that, Gilbert.
See you tomorrow.
We're not going anywhere. Goodbye.
I don't use precise lightly here. He actually spent time with them and studied their mannerisms. So, clearly, I have a question for the audience. Why hasn't Leo won an Oscar yet? The rest of the cast is also well picked, with Juliette Lewis, Crispin Glover, and John C. Reilly rounding out the regulars. The question is, how does a film set primarily in a small town create compelling cinema while maintaining plausibility? If you've never been to rural Iowa, trust me, entertainment is hard to come by. It's sometimes gas stations, also very far between if you're in Amish country. Let's see how Gilbert fares. Meet Mr. Grape, the caretaker. He lives with his family, which includes his two sisters, Arnie, and his mother. His mom's not left the couch in a while. Like, 17 years. Gilbert works for the local grocer, where he relabels canned goods and gives the look to people who come in bearing foodstuffs from the nearby supermarket. I don't understand why this person tried to bring their groceries from the other place into this food store, but maybe it's just to drive home the point that the locals are kind of in a rough spot. Everyone's business is hurting. Even the hearse is cruising the scene looking for business. That's tacky no matter who you are. I guess we should be thankful he's not trying to run people over. For the audience, it set the small-town desperation tone well. But the problem is, no one in this town seems to see the situation they're in. The cafe's still bustling with optimism, no one's talking about moving away, and they even have a local daredevil to provide entertainment.
Come on down. We got a dust on board, okay? Come on down.
Hey!
Someone put a board on that ladder! He's gonna kill himself! Arnie likes to climb things, like the house, the trees, and the water tower, way too often. Gilbert does his best to watch him at all times, even when he's on the job. So literally Gilbert's entire day is spent breadwinning and babysitting for his family. It's a wonder he hasn't become embittered by this.
I got another brother, Larry, but he got away.
Never mind. Gilbert's sleepwalking through the motions of what he needs to do to care for his family, because they are his burden. He needs to be there for them, or else their life will fall to ruin more so than it already has. And I hope they're at least appreciative for what he's done.
It just leaves Gilbert.
Huh?
You're the only one without anything to do. Got any ideas?
No.
Sure he does.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
I'm almost 16 and I got pages of ideas.
Ellen.
She designed a whole cake and you haven't done anything.
Stop it, Ellen.
Can it?
Can I be
He never does
excused?
anything. No.
Please, can't we just do something as a family?
No fair,
Can I
Mom.
please be excused?
One
No,
simple
Marty.
thing
We have a
is a
This is what happens when your family therapy is watching Married with Children. His entire character yearns for escape but never seeks it, which is probably why he starts the affair with the insurance provider's wife. Illicit behavior is the easiest and most destructive way to express these feelings. Aside from his taboo strange, he has the two most telling friends one can have in a tiny town like this. Seriously, they feel just like the characters the DM would throw in to show how tiny-minded a Hamlet would be. In fact, let's go ahead and bring him in to show how telling they are.
So, why exactly would I run a campaign like this?
'Cause then I could say, I'm Batman, son of Ridley.
And spoil two cannons at once? No wonder you like this.
Hey, you got a minute to talk about what's eating Gilbert Grape?
As long as it's not about aliens, I'm up for it.
Tell me about the pair of stereotypical small-town lifers.
For some reason, I want to talk about the space monsters more now. In every small town, you find these people. They support the local high school team, with its always promising, yet ultimately futile season. Don't understand why anyone would ever want to move away from the town's dying economy. And just leap at the chance to make this small hamlet a better place for anyone willing to share in their Stockholm Syndrome. These two men perfectly illustrate the worst-case scenario of this behavior. First, we have Tucker, played by a very out-of-place John C. Reilly. He's honestly the most normal one, and he never does that.
Well, when the other one's Crispin Glover, the odds increase.
Crispin Glover is in rare form as Bobby McBurney, funeral director. A funeral director. It is exactly what you think it is. These two are best friends of Gilbert, and by that I mean they're the only ones who talk to him outside of his work and family. Tucker pins his hopes on getting a job at a new fast food place opening up. Yes, a McBurger Kong is pitched as economic salvation. Let that sink in. And Bobby just keeps asking everyone about how their aged loved ones are doing, in totally casual ways.
Mr. Carver, I haven't seen your mother in church lately. How's she doing?
Fine, she's fine.
Ah, thanks. Bye.
Making every conversation awkward is a proven sales technique.
Really? That works?
By proven, I meant it fails every time.
Totally. Though honestly, I do wonder what Bobby's like at home.
He's dead. Now we can have a good time.
Some things are best left unknown.
What was that?
It was nothing. You must have had a fever dream. Anyway, these two are staples of the community, and everyone knows their idiosyncrasies. They're accepted because at least they have a stake in the town, showing that no matter what, even better opportunities elsewhere, they're staying for good. Without some people like this, everyone would move away to the city, leaving whole towns barren and ripe for the plucking by farmers. Farmers who take that land and grow crops. Huge crops. Crops big enough to blot out the sun! At least in my campaign they would.
They are the strange backbone that every small community needs, and it really wouldn't be the same place without them. Thanks for highlighting that, DM.
Sure thing. Maybe. Just maybe. Alright. We can do this, but on one condition. Bacchus, you have to be the small person in blackface, claiming to be Michael Jackson. We're going strange, we're going all the way.
So, aside from the town's personalities and quirks, Gilbert has one outstanding prejudice that helps illustrate how fed up he is with the state of his own world.
My mom is sort of attached to the house. Attached is, I guess, not the right word. She's pretty much wedged in.
What do you mean?
Did you ever see a beached whale?
Again, he's talking about his mother. She's given up on life, just spending day in and out, sitting at the TV, having meals carted in on the dining room table before her. What broke her?
Dad's dead.
What's her problem?
Dad's in there. Ooh. Shh. Ooh. Dad's in there.
Shh. Honey, shut up.
That'll do it. It's clear that the family never talked about this act, nor dealt with it. They're essentially locked in the same position as when the father died, where the older siblings are living at home to care for the younger ones while the mother feels helpless to assist. This creates that prison without walls feeling for the elder two, and a growing discontent in the younger for how dysfunctional the family is. This phenomenon, let's call it fusion, means that no one affiliated with this group has to change or grow in any way to be accepted as part of a society. This is actually the same technique that cults use, but there's no specific goal with the Grape family. They're just stuck, right along with Big Mama, and waiting for her to get off the couch and finally start to try and live again. Interesting side note, the woman who plays Mama is no actor. She was cast for her size, and at the time of filming, hadn't left the house in 5 years. Who knows how she made it to the casting call, but I'm glad that she did. Anyway, Gilbert has been in this rut so long he's burnt out. Johnny Depp specifically went with a half-asleep performance just to show how disconnected Gilbert was from his own life. Because to look at his own life and assess where it was going would be terrifying. He's almost given up on leaving this small town or his family ever. And that's not sitting well with him. He knows he's becoming embittered and that he's getting angry at nothing because he's frustrated. When someone asks him what he wants in life, all he responds is, "I want to be a good person." Anyone from the outside looking in is going to know that he is doing everything right. He's just not doing anything for himself, and it's making him become a frustrated jerk. And he's going to become even worse as time goes on if he never steps away from his family and finds his own identity. He knows this is coming and he doesn't want it to happen, but he's not taking steps to get away from the situation. Enter Juliette Lewis. She plays the girl who's riding across country with her grandmother when the truck fails, stranding her in this little hamlet. Gilbert's drawn to her, and she's not tied down physically to anywhere. Traveled all her life. Yet, she has the ability to connect much faster and more emotionally with people than Gilbert, because she's not burnt out on people yet. In all fairness, she hasn't dealt with these people for decades, but still, she understands that all connections with others are fleeting, and that at any moment, they could just disappear. The positive moments are what you should focus on because they're going to be the best parts of your life. Gilbert really needs to try and understand that. Eventually, she does help open his eyes to how he should be treating his family, how not to be embittered, but instead know that everyone here is stuck in the same place that he is. They're not prison guards, they're fellow prisoners, and everyone wants out, even Mama. I want to tell you more, but the ending surprised me so much I don't want to spoil it for you. It shows that even when effort comes too late, it's still good to try. We all have our faults, but despite them, we can rise above it and inspire others to hope, even as we ourselves tumble to the wayside. It's quite inspiring, and it leaves me with one question in mind. Why haven't more people seen this movie? Maybe it's because I grew up in a small town, but this whole film feels extremely sincere. Family bonds growing too tight, small community fighting for survival, and throughout it all, people just want to feel like a part of something worthwhile, something they can be proud of. It touches on a microcosm of the human condition, complete with all its flaws and saving graces. I'm glad that I saw this. Additionally, if you like the idea of a young Leonardo DiCaprio and Johnny Depp playing an alternate universe version of Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men, then this is definitely worth your time. I'm the other Socio, and I need to watch that movie again.
Gorgonzola. 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 Gorgonzola.